boxer, but it's okay, fun fight, no problem. But I want a next fight with who winner, Daniel Dubois and maybe.
He's earned the right to do whatever he wants. There's a pecking order that obviously I've got to respect. Obviously, I don't pay attention to none of that. I don't really care what these other heavyweights think or feel. I know what the truth is, and I know the ability that I'm capable of. It's just
with Moses and Usyk. You sell it out 5 or 6 times over. Right this minute. Right this minute. And the pay-per-view, the viewing.
I think Moses potentially can be a brilliant heavyweight at 21 years old to do what he's doing now. I think potentially can be brilliant. And that's not just going with the crowd. You're going on what you see, because you can always build someone up and say this kid's that kid, and people, they don't do the homework, they get sucked in. Yeah, he's brilliant, they've not even seen. I'm telling you from my opinion, from my view, I think he's a very talented young man. I think potentially he's got so much potential, it's ridiculous. And this guy's nowhere near the finished article.
I think you just touched on it there, which I picked up. You said Zuffa are talking to heavyweights. I feel like you're talking from inside knowledge. Obviously, they've just signed a deal with Sky Sports, which is official now. It was rumoured a few months ago, but it's official. So are you saying Zuffa are in the market to sign anyone that's a free agent?
I'm telling you, if you're a promoter here in the UK, lock your fighters down. Lock them down, because if you don't lock them down and they've got something about them, they're probably having a conversation right now, because I know conversations are being had. So now the promoters have got to be professional, be tight, be watertight, because Zuffa are coming to make some noise and ruffle some feathers. And look, you saw what they did with Conor Ben. You saw what they did with Atama. You know, so do you think they've come here to do?
Oleksandr Usyk accepts Moses Itauma's fight offer for September 2026, and this changes everything. Usyk has officially responded after Atama's dominant win over Jermaine Franklin, making it clear he's ready for war. He didn't just accept, he sent a chilling warning, promising to break the hype and expose the young challenger on the biggest stage.
Listen, I think, oh yes, it's a...
Frank Warren is openly pushing it as a real possibility. He's made it clear that a showdown between Oleksandr Usyk and Moses Itauma isn't just massive financially, but something that could genuinely be ordered depending on how the division unfolds. With Atama's rise accelerating after his latest win, Warren is effectively signaling that this fight is closer than people think.
I mean, I really think, you know, that's a fight that should happen.
Frank Warren isn't holding back. He's practically giving the green light. He openly says he'd make the fight right now, pointing to Moses Itauma's speed and youth as real threats, while still respecting the elite class of Oleksandr Usyk. But the message is clear. Warren believes this young fighter is ready to be thrown into the fire.
I'm sort of very careful with what I do with fighters, as you know, but yes, I would make that fight now. Styles make fights. He's got youth, he's got speed, and Alex is a great fighter. I think this young man is...
Moses Itauma fires back and questions the narrative, suggesting Oleksandr Usyk had no choice but to respond publicly. Atama implies that deep down, Usyk understands the real risk this fight carries, but won't openly admit it. There's clear confidence here, even a touch of mind games, as Atama looks to shift the pressure onto the champion and challenge his authenticity.
You know why? But I feel like in this boxing game, there's always going to be people saying something, and obviously Usyk had to say something to you guys, and he's not exactly going to come on a camera and say, nah, I don't want to potentially put my career at risk because of a 21-year-old that's coming through the ranks. So obviously he has to say something, but I don't think that people believed it, and if they did...
This is where the danger becomes real. Moses Itauma isn't just another prospect. He's being described as a hybrid, combining explosive power with elite speed. The comparisons even suggest elements of Oleksandr Usyk's style, but with added aggression. That kind of combination at heavyweight is rare, and it's exactly why this fight is being taken so seriously.
A little bit of that to him too. Not better Biev as much, but Bivol fights a little bit that way, but this is with power and speed. Bivol has a bit more volume and grace to his, but Itauma has devastation and electricity behind his left hand, and then that right hook sweeps across and it hits you right on top of the head. To see that in a heavyweight is so special, and this is why I call Moses Itauma.
Frank Warren pushes it even further. He's not just talking, he's ready to make the fight immediately. He's openly backing Moses Itauma to step in right now and believes he can actually beat Oleksandr Usyk. That level of confidence from a promoter tells you everything about how highly they rate this young fighter behind the scenes.
We'll go to America, and we certainly will take him to America, but there are fights there I wish I could make the Usyk fight right now.
So you put him in with Usyk right now, you'd be confident that he could get that win?
I'd put him in right now.
Ben Davison might be cautious with his words, but the message hits hard. Even he admits Moses Itauma may have the biggest chance to beat Oleksandr Usyk right now. And after what Atama did to Jermaine Franklin, the warnings are getting louder. People are now openly saying this young powerhouse could run straight through Usyk and completely wreck him if given the opportunity.
Part of what he's saying is he probably wouldn't be ideal. Probably wouldn't be ideal to, it's not perfect timing, but at the same time, I do think Moses is the person with the most amount of chance to...
Spencer Oliver takes it a step further and explains exactly why this fight becomes so dangerous for both sides. He believes Oleksandr Usyk isn't just chasing wins anymore, he's chasing legacy. The idea of becoming one of the greatest of all time by defeating the next generation star in Moses Itauma is huge, especially after Atama's rise following dominant performances like the one against Jermaine Franklin. The narrative is exploding. Spencer suggests Usyk would see this as the ultimate statement fight, because beating a hyped young destroyer could cement his place in history above everyone else in the sport.
Itauma, and the reason that I think that he'll do that, Oleksandr Usyk, is because Usyk is that guy he'll want to go down as not just one of the greatest to ever do it, but the greatest to ever do it. And I think that by beating the young kid that everybody's talking about as being the next king of this new generation, by doing that, if he beats Moses Itauma, his record is
Moses Itauma himself admits the reality of the situation. World champions like Oleksandr Usyk are protecting their value and legacy, and a fight against a young, explosive fighter like him carries huge risk. But at the same time, he acknowledges that these are the men who have earned the right to choose their paths. That honesty adds another layer to this story. Atama knows he's dangerous, the division knows it too, and even the champions are watching carefully before making a move that could change everything in one night.
Towards a Kabayel, a Coley showdown. Now, Kabayel is very big in Germany, and this fight next week, it's sold out, I think, 16 or 18,000 tickets within about a week or 10 days. I wouldn't be surprised if Queensbury's idea would be for...
Wade Plemons breaks it down in full detail, and what he's describing is nothing short of dangerous. Moses Itauma is being praised for having pure destruction in his left hand and a right hook that can instantly change a fight. But the real argument here is the comparison. Even Oleksandr Usyk is used as the perfect example of how skill beats size at heavyweight. However, the difference is that Atama combines that same technical ability with raw physical power, making him a rare hybrid who moves like a smaller fighter but hits like a heavyweight monster.
Is so special, and this is why I call Moses Itauma a hybrid. And I said this on the Ring Show, what Oleksandr Usyk is able to use to his advantage at heavyweight, no one else really has. He's a smaller heavyweight. In this era, we are in the era of the super heavyweight, all the heavyweights being like 250 plus at like 6'5", they're monsters. And oddly enough, Usyk uses it to his advantage. He uses it to expose the lack of footwork, fundamentals, technique, speed, and otherwise of the bigger, heavier, powerful guys. But Moses Itauma is that hybrid, where he's 240 pounds, 6 foot plus, but he's just as fast as an Oleksandr Usyk, maybe faster. Actually, no, not maybe, is faster. He possesses all the same skills of a cruiserweight Oleksandr Usyk, but moves like, some of these middleweights at heavyweight. We haven't seen a guy like him in a very long time, right? That size, that speed, that agility with that technique, that footwork. Again, the last guy it reminds you of is Oleksandr Usyk, but he's not even a true heavyweight. Atama is, and
Liam Goff doesn't hesitate to back the growing hype around Moses Itauma. He's not just repeating opinions, he's validating them, saying the hype is real and fully deserved. At just 21 and already having sparred professional heavyweights at 15, Atama's development is being used as proof that this isn't normal progression. Every detail keeps getting compared back to Oleksandr Usyk, because the division is starting to believe this young fighter isn't just the future, he might already be operating at elite level.
The heir to Oleksandr Usyk's throne, he's this, that. And I'm here to say, yeah, I think he is all that. And it's not just me, I think the majority of people actually do think that. Moses Itauma gets a lot of hype, yes, but it's warranted. It's deserved.
Timothy Bradley Jr. comes out swinging with a completely dismissive take on Moses Itauma, making it clear he does not rate him anywhere near the level of Oleksandr Usyk. His tone is blunt, almost mocking the hype, suggesting Atama still hasn't faced anything close to true championship pressure. At the same time, he insists Usyk is too smart to even entertain a risky fight against a young, hungry puncher like this right now. The message is simple but aggressive. Talent means nothing until it's proven at the top level, and Bradley is basically warning everyone to slow down the hype train before reality hits hard.
No motherfucking Usyk, that motherfucker going to the water for 10 minutes, you know, like he work on his stamina so he can hop around the ring and do what he do for 12 rounds, right? And turn that shit up if he want to, anytime he want, you know, so he different. But he ain't ready for no Usyk, but shit, I know Usyk ain't finna step up and be like, let me fight the young gun right now.
Gareth A. Davies turns the whole situation into a ticking bomb, pointing out that age and timing could decide everything between Moses Itauma and Oleksandr Usyk. He suggests if Usyk delays too long, the opportunity disappears, or worse, he risks damaging his legacy against a younger, fresher, more dangerous fighter. There's also the financial angle, hinting that only massive money could force this fight into reality. But underneath it all is a warning. This isn't a matchup you can avoid forever. The longer it waits, the more unpredictable and dangerous it becomes for both sides, and one wrong decision could completely rewrite the heavyweight division overnight.
Not sure that Usyk will want to fight Moses if he's 40 already. So maybe the clock is ticking, the clock is clicking, the clock is ticking for Moses to fight Usyk before he's 40. Maybe as well, he won't want to ruin his legacy, but maybe if Turki Al-Sheikh wants to see the fight, put up enough money, maybe he will fight him, and maybe the legacy will be ruined. But maybe if he fights him before he's 40,
Tony Bellew raises a real concern, pointing out that size might be a factor when discussing Moses Itauma, but immediately flips the argument by referencing what Oleksandr Usyk has already proven at heavyweight. His point is simple: size doesn't guarantee survival anymore. Even though he admits Atama may not yet be as technically polished as Usyk, he still calls him a future force of the division. That's a strong statement coming from someone experienced at the elite level. The message underneath is clear: talent like this doesn't wait, and if developed correctly, Atama could realistically take over the heavyweight landscape in the near future.
The only thing that I worry about with Moses is the size. But ultimately, as we've seen now, size becomes irrelevant because look what Oleksandr Usyk's done. This guy's gone out and beaten everyone, including me. He's exceptional. So I don't think Moses is going to be as technically as good as Oleksandr Usyk, but he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding.
Adam Smith delivers a full endorsement of Moses Itauma, describing him as a complete package: sharp movement, heavy hands, and the attitude of a future champion. He highlights how dangerous it is becoming to ignore someone with this combination of attributes, especially at heavyweight, where one mistake can end everything. But the key tension in his analysis is timing, whether Atama is being pushed too fast, or if this is exactly the moment to test him. And every time this debate comes up, it circles back to the same benchmark: Oleksandr Usyk, the standard that every rising heavyweight is now being measured against.
Kid on the block, Moses Itauma, who looks absolutely extraordinary, and for me, he ticks all the boxes. I like his attitude, I like his style, southpaw, hard-hitting, moves so well. He's going to be very, very difficult to sort of deter. So it's an interesting one because, yeah, is this too soon for Moses, or is this just the right fight at the right?
Johnny Nelson takes a more protective stance, warning that rushing Moses Itauma into a fight like this could ruin everything before his career fully develops. He strongly suggests that fighters like him are the future of the division, and throwing him in too early against someone like Oleksandr Usyk could be a mistake. Nelson even points out that Usyk is likely nearing the end of his career, while Atama is just getting started, making timing critical. His message isn't doubt, it's caution. He believes protecting talent at this stage could decide whether Atama becomes a dominant force or just another missed opportunity in heavyweight history.
potentially another rising heavyweight that can dominate the division. Why spoil it? Just think, you know what? Sometimes you've got to lose a battle to win a war. So I'd be a bit smart. And I'm not saying he gets turned over by Usyk because you don't know how good this kid is. What I'm saying is, I just won't do it. It's not a risk that because he's the future. Usyk's at the stage where he's probably 1 or 2 fights ready to walk away. Moses is 20 years old, so he's the guy that will actually...
Moses Itauma is being assessed as someone who studies fights in detail rather than reacting to hype. Observers highlight how he processes exchanges, sets traps calmly, and selects shots efficiently, showing advanced ring instincts for his age. In their view, he isn't just a power puncher, but a fighter displaying layers of refinement that usually take years to develop. That's what makes the praise stand out. Still, when evaluating any heavyweight talent today, the benchmark remains Oleksandr Usyk, the division's technical reference point.
Moses is one of the best young fighters boxing has seen in years. And I'm not just saying that based on a result over deal. You know, I hope you understand that when I look at a fighter, I'm looking at things that others don't see. I'm not looking at the hype. I'm looking at what he does in the ring, how he does it, his skill set. You know, I'm looking at that because that's the important stuff. And right now, to me, he's shown probably
Derek Chisora responds with immediate resistance to the idea of Moses Itauma being matched with Oleksandr Usyk. His stance is rooted in experience, not speculation. Having been in deep waters at elite level himself, he recognizes what separates a contender from a finished product. His description of Usyk as a different beast reflects the kind of opponent who operates on timing, intelligence, and adaptability that doesn't fade easily. Chisora's message isn't dismissive of Itauma's ability, but it strongly suggests that rushing into that level of opposition could expose gaps that still need time to develop.
Oleksandr Usyk, or is that too soon? To leave Usyk alone. Usyk's a beast, man. Different beast.
Dave Coldwell gives a straight and honest assessment of Moses Itauma, highlighting both the belief and the reality surrounding his rapid rise. He recognizes that Atama carries the mindset of a fighter who genuinely believes he can defeat anyone in the world, even someone as dominant as Oleksandr Usyk. That confidence is what separates good prospects from future champions. However, Coldwell doesn't sugarcoat the situation. In his view, Usyk still sits at the very top of the division, even if age and wear are slowly becoming factors. The key point he makes is timing. Ambition is important, but experience at elite level matters even more. Right now, he believes the gap between potential and proven greatness is still significant, which makes this matchup far too early despite the excitement it generates.
He's a winner, he's got plenty of ambition, and he truly believes that he can go in there and beat any man in the world right now, and that includes Oleksandr Usyk. Do I personally think it's too soon? Yes, I do. Usyk's he's a different breed, he's a different fighter. Yes, he's getting older.
Duke McKenzie paints a very clear future picture for Moses Itauma, suggesting that with a few more fights under his belt, he could become a complete force in the heavyweight division. He describes him as a potential wrecking ball once experience fills the small gaps in his development. However, he draws a hard line when it comes to the elite level right now. In his eyes, nobody in the current scene is beating Oleksandr Usyk at this moment in time. The respect for Usyk is absolute, based on consistency, skill, and ring intelligence. McKenzie's view separates future dominance from present reality. Atama may be building something special, but Usyk is still operating in a completely different class today.
More experience on his side, Atama.
That's it. Absolutely.
You know, another 4 or 5 fights down the line, then you're looking at an absolute wrecking ball. Then he would beat everybody put in front of him.
They said
but
that,
nobody's going to. Yeah, nobody's going to beat.
He said who's going to give him rounds. That's what he was saying. He wanted them out.
Nobody beats Usyk right now.
He acknowledges that money can often drive fights that seem unlikely, especially when major promoters and investors start pushing for big events. However, he quickly shifts the focus back to logic inside the ring. From his point of view, Moses Itauma still needs rounds, development, and proper seasoning before stepping into that level of opposition. At the same time, he describes Oleksandr Usyk as the best of his generation, someone who has already proven everything there is to prove. Because of that, Rawlings doubts this fight will ever realistically happen, not because of hype or demand, but because the gap in readiness and legacy is still too wide to bridge.
The power, he has the variation. He didn't do an uppercut until he finished it with an uppercut. That was the only punch he never threw. He can throw it to the head, he can throw it to the body. And he went 5 rounds, he threw a lot of punches. So But me and the rest of the heavyweights, we're hoping he can't take a punch. Or he ain't getting beat. It's as simple as that.